Mr. Wonderful say about your real estate business? Whether you're a broker in the multi-six figures or a complete brand new agent, this video is going to be valuable. I'm going to break down 3 key rules Kevin applies every single time to build bulletproof businesses. And if you apply this, not only you'll be able to grow this year, but you actually be able to build a model that's sustainable, scalable, and most importantly, that actually lasts for a good amount of time. So let's get to it. Okay, so I'll start this video with this quote. And this is my favorite quote of Kevin. I don't invest in people who are interested. I invest in people who are obsessed. If you're not waking up thinking about how to grow your business, serve your clients better, crush your numbers, someone else will, right? And this goes on the first point, major point that I'm going to break down in this video, that is knowing your numbers. I see so many agents. How many appointments did you have last month? How many in-person appointments did you have last month? How many leads did you generate last month, last week, yesterday, today? Like, if you don't know these numbers off the bat, or you don't have a giant spreadsheet where you track everything, how can you get to your goals? And I'm speaking to myself here too, because like sometimes it's not, sometimes it's easy to like say, okay, I'll track the numbers tomorrow, I'll do it next week. And then you get months and months go by, you don't know your numbers and you're stuck in the same position. Because being stuck, it's not like some magical thing that happens. It happens because you don't change your behaviors and you learn from your circumstances, right? And if you don't track your numbers, how can you know what needs to be improved and what not, and what's working, what's not working, right? So that's the very first thing Kevin is so he always talks about it, right? Like if you don't know your numbers, you don't have a real business, you have a hobby, right? So the main 2 things that you should track is, number 1, lead generation. It's funny because I didn't include in here cost per CPMs or click-through ratios, or because those are vanity metrics. The way I track my metrics, I like to go the Hormozi way. The Hormozi way is pretty simple. Your Hormozi way is basically finding like what's the end? What's the end goal? Getting a deal. Okay. Do you know how much it costs for you to get a deal? No. Okay. How much it costs for you to get in front of a qualified seller that actually wants to sell? Boom. Track that. If you don't have that, how much it costs for you to get a qualified phone conversation? And you kind of like try to track those core end goals instead of like click-through ratios, whatever, and then you can break down the rest. Cost per qualified lead is very important because that will allow you to understand, okay, if I get 20 qualified leads this month, maybe I can close a deal, whatever. I don't know your numbers, but that's, if you track this, you know what to touch and what not. If you're running any ads, or if you're cold calling, like how many calls does it take you for you to get a listing appointment, right? That's the key. Time tracking. So I use this tool Clockify twice a month. You can set like a timer. Every half an hour, you write down exactly all the little tasks that you have done. And I know it's not easy. It's not an easy exercise. But after a week of staying consistent, running everything, you know exactly how you're running your business. So you're not running it, unconsciously, but you're running it consciously. You know what actions are you taking day to day, and what's leading you, and what has been leading you to get your current results. If you're not happy with it, if you're happy with it, whatever that is, right? So you know at least what to double down on, what to remove, right? And so once you identify this, you can remove. I like this exercise, EAD, right? Eliminate, automate, delegate, right? But if you don't even know what you're working on, how can you eliminate things? How can you delegate things? You get the point, right? So that's the first thing. All right, second favorite point breaking down Kevin's thought processes is fire emotion from your decisions. This, I think, is a quote. Don't quote me on this. Google it if you're curious about it. But as a human, you're burdened with a number of unconscious psychological forces that prevent you from achieving success with your business. And by the way, core point behind this entire video, be aware of what you're doing. Be aware, like just think, right? If you're not growing to the extent you want, think. If you sit down in silence and you think every single day, you get there eventually, because alone by being aware, most people are not aware of how they're running their business. What actions are they taking? Are they moving closer or not? Or are they moving away from their goals, right? But just alone by being aware, you're getting to your goal faster than 99% of people. But these forces make you more likely to take action that directly or indirectly stops you from getting more business. You need to be aware of them. I'm talking about biases. I'm talking about emotions, right? All these things that stop you indirectly from getting more business, or increase, like growing it to the extent that you want, right? And so the scientific method is the only way to achieve success when growing a business. And this requires testing, patience, and emotional control, right? So if you want to get more listings, and aside from the referrals, everyone loves referrals, and the more referrals that you have, the better, of course. But if you want to be like I don't know what business do you want, but if you want to build like a business in the multi-six figures in GCI per year, unless you're have a huge network, it's tough to do that alone by referrals. But if you want to grow it by running paid ads, having a team of cold callers, whatever that is, the scientific method is the only way to achieve success, because you test things, you see what works and what not, and you actually make decisions based on data, not emotions. So you can build two types of real estate businesses, right? Successful is built with slow, methodical, logical, thoughtful, deliberate change. Failing is built with impulsive, illogical, sudden accidental change, I didn't get a listing this month, let me change my entire thing, let me go haywire, and that's gonna keep you stuck, because if you think you're making progress but you're staying in the same place, right? And so the only difference between number one and number two is that the second person operates with emotion, not rationality. That's it. So you must learn to control this. And when an hypothesis fails, if you're trying to if you're tracking your lead generation, or you're tracking your time, whatever that is, or you're tracking whatever, you want an hypothesis fail. Let's say you're testing this new ad, or you're testing this new pitch, you're testing this listing presentation. You need to sit and face the emotions, right? And resist the temptation of of just going haywire with the emotions that you feel right now. Because maybe when an hypothesis feels I'm not growing, I'm stuck, and it's let's quit. All those things are unconsciously ruining your business every time that you make a decision with those emotions, right? So that's key. That's the second point, right? So fire emotions from your decision, knowing your numbers. Lastly, if it doesn't scale, it's a prison. And I would like to end this video with this statement, because statements close the mind, questions open it, right? So like I said earlier, if you're aware about your business, the way you're running it, and you fire emotion and you know your numbers, how can you not grow? It's almost unreasonable, right? So if it doesn't scale, it's a prison. So what I mean by that is, this is the last point with Kevin. Kevin always talks about it, right? That if you're earning out, you're having your business, and you have you probably went in real estate for freedom, to have a flexible schedule. But if you're work 12 hours and you have 6 showings a day, or whatever it is, or you're running around your buyers, the question is, what business do you want to build? Because if you enjoy being in the trenches, you don't want to make more money, then that's fine. But if you don't want to build that business, at least you know what you're doing. Because sometimes maybe you see this guy whatever, but it really depends on the business that you want to build. That's going to dictate the actions that you're going to take to move towards your goals. So that's it for this video. Hope it was valuable. I really enjoy it every time, breaking down the main, what's the thought process behind the biggest entrepreneurs in the space, whether it's in real estate or not. I the other video I broke down Jeff Bezos' thought process. If you lost that video, if you haven't watched it yet, click here. It should be here or here to watch that video that I made breaking down the main points behind Jeff Bezos' thought process applied to real estate. And if you like, click the link below. It's gonna lead to a booking page. So you can book a call with your team. Yes, it's a call to see if it potentially be a fit to work with us. So if we can help you with getting more sellers, getting from more sellers, getting more listings, and if not, it's cool. Hope you still found this video valuable, and I'll see you inside the next video.